Oh, the storm clouds were moving across your eyes, and I could hear the war drums pounding from inside your mind. So I gave out my life for love, but it still was not enough. Located in the southern peninsula of Malaysia, Malacca is a world-famous city that accumulates up to 20 million tourists every year. What attracts them is not only the famous Jonker Street, but also the cultural heritage left by Western civilization. Most notably, the buildings left behind in that period of colonial history carry a historical memory. Throughout the different eras of different colonies, a cultural collision forms and unknown secrets have been hidden deep within some of the few most famous historical buildings in Malacca. The colonial history of Malacca began in 1511 when the Portuguese rulers came from the sea and began the invasion of Western civilization in Malacca. The Maritime Museum is a replica built based on a really large Portuguese sailing ship that sank off the coast while on its way to Portugal. It is one of the most important symbols of Malacca's heritage.
My name is Muhammad Noor. I'm an in-house tourist guide here. I think the reason why they make this replica is for tourism. But this one is a replica by the Portuguese ship. I think the reason why is a tourism part, because in Malacca, we have a long history from the three countries, from the Portuguese, Dutch, and British.
There are also paintings which display how the Straits of Malacca was a strategic location for traders from both the east and the west to conduct their businesses while waiting for the monsoon winds to change direction. The replica of the ship reflected what it was like during that era of Portuguese civilization in Malacca.
Those were the last days of spring.
The advent of the Dutch in 1641 ended the Portuguese colonial period. During this period, the Dutch promoted the development of business in Malacca. The two most representative buildings of this period are Porta de Santiago and St. Paul's Church. But the two buildings bring people totally different emotions. Looking around St. Paul's Castle, it is depressing, as this was the after effects left after the Dutch and Portuguese wars. It shows the cruelty of the war and let people remember the painful history behind it. The oldest Catholic church in Malaysia, St. Paul's Church, has a mixture of Eastern and Western architectural styles, which now seem much older and more ancient than it did centuries ago. Many artists come to St. Paul's Church to perform and create, as its mysterious vibe gives them inspiration. Most importantly, the statue of St. Paul with a broken arm carries little-known legends and raises people's curiosity towards the historical landmark. St. Francis Xavier passed away in the year of 1552 off the coast of China. His body was temporarily buried in St. Paul's Church burial vault for 9 months before being transferred to Portuguese Goa on the west coast of India, where it remains today. A marble statue of St. Francis Xavier, built in 1953, stands within the complex commemorating Malaysia's best-known missionary. Stories say that when Xavier was to be canonized in 1614, the Vatican demanded the right arm from the body. When the marble statue was constructed in 1952, on the morning after its consecration, a large casuarina tree fell on it, severing its right arm. Among all the historical landmarks mentioned, the Staff House is the most well-known building that represents Malacca as the way it is now. It is one of the oldest buildings in Malaysia that is still almost perfectly intact. It is also believed to be the oldest surviving Dutch building in the East, built between 1641 and 1660 on the ruins of a Portuguese fort. The Staff House was the focus point of several successive governments for over 300 years.
And this is the first building built by them, by the company, yeah? Not by the Holland, by the VOC company. Okay, in the year of 1650, and they call the name of the building Stadhuis. Okay, the first thing, when Dutch was in Malacca, they built the building as their city hall. That's why they call it Stadhuis. Stadhuis means city hall. And the special of the buildings, during that time, inside the building, they are also included the governor office, the governor residence, the dungeon, you know the dungeon? The prisoner rooms, even the original bakery also inside this complex. That means inside the compound of Stadhuis, everything includes. That's why they are very, very important part of the Stadhuis was built here.
Many tourists visit the Staff House, which has been turned into a museum in 1982, hoping to understand more about the history of the iconic landmark, entering different rooms to see different types of antiques left behind. However, there are some rooms that are yet not open for the public to see.
As one of the prisoner rooms on the ground floor, that one we didn't do any exhibition there. We closed up that place because we are still was prepared to do something in that place. But the prisoner rooms are not allowed to the visitor to visit because we locked the place because we didn't display any exhibit there.
It is hard to believe that in this place where tourists roams and observe different antiques, below it lies dungeons that were occupied by prisoners centuries ago.
If you tell me about the biggest secret of these buildings, you know, this is only the building left in Malacca. If you go to the Holland, you couldn't find out original Dutch heritage building in Holland anymore. Only left in Malacca. So if you want to see the original architecture of the Dutch heritage building, you have to come to Malacca. That's the beauty of this state, Malacca. And I was very lucky I born in Malacca. And we can see this building in my country.
However, the secret of this building is not only that. There's more to it.
So they need the ventilation for the building. You see? So what they do, they open up the middle part of the door as a window. So they open up this iron bar, okay? And they will bang this plank. So it's one of the reasons because they need ventilation, cool insides. And it's a wooden pack. It's all woods. It's solid woods, you see. So that's a beautiful architecture of the Dutch. You see, in 2-in-1, door and window. So this is unique, you know. That is so beautiful. And for me, it's really unique. And the Dutch style.
These buildings themselves are distinctive and meaningful, and the history and secrets behind them are more like treasures that attract people from all over the world.
最吸引我的地方是这边有很多不同国家的建筑物，然后还有包含食物或是文化什么的，然后可以同时看到很多不同的东西，就是蛮特别的。
It's like because there's like big history behind that, so it's like, oh wow. I think it's strange and beautiful to have two different architecture in the same place.
There are many ways why people, tourists like to visit Malacca. It's not only in heritage and also in culture, in the different foods of different races. These all involved together.
They bring extraordinary visual and spiritual experiences to people coming from afar. And though we haven't covered some of the secrets from within these historical buildings, there are still many more secrets ready to be discovered.